These are 25 of the best PS5 games available right now, covering every genre from action RPGs to roguelikes. If you own a PS5 and need your next obsession, this list has you covered. Starting at number 1, Elden Ring is the kind of open-world game that pulls you in completely and refuses to let go. From Software built something that rewards patience, curiosity, and persistence across the vast lands between. Every discovery feels earned, every boss fight is a lesson, and the Shadow of the Erdtree expansion adds an entirely new region packed with some of the best content in the entire game. It is an absolute must-play for any PS5 owner. Coming in at number 2, God of War Ragnarok is one of the most cinematic and emotionally grounded action games ever released. Kratos and Atreus are facing the Norse apocalypse, and the weight of that story is felt in every single encounter throughout the campaign. The combat is brutal and deeply satisfying, the production values are genuinely stunning, and the pacing between action and storytelling is handled better here than in almost any game before it. Number 3 is Marvel's Spider-Man 2, and if you want to understand what PS5 hardware is actually capable of, this is the game that shows it. Insomniac built a Manhattan that feels fully alive, and swinging through it as Peter or Miles never stops feeling incredible. The Venom storyline gives the game a sense of real stakes. Combat is faster and more layered than ever, and the sheer ambition of what is on screen at any given moment is consistently impressive from start to finish. Baldur's Gate 3 earns its place at number 4 as one of the most ambitious and deeply replayable RPGs ever made. Larian Studios gave players a staggering level of freedom to approach every situation in almost any way imaginable, and the game responds to your choices with a level of detail that feels genuinely unprecedented. The PS5 version runs beautifully, and you can easily sink hundreds of hours into multiple playthroughs without ever seeing everything this game has to offer. Game 5 is Astro Bot, the 2024 Game of the Year that reminded everyone what pure joy in a video game actually feels like. This platformer uses the DualSense controller in ways that make every level feel tactile and inventive, and the love letter to PlayStation history woven throughout the entire experience is genuinely touching. It is charming, creative, and relentlessly fun in a way that works for absolutely every type of player, regardless of experience level. At number 6, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is the biggest surprise the RPG genre has produced in years. Sandfall Interactive blended turn-based combat with real-time parry and dodge mechanics in a way that makes every single battle feel deeply engaging. The art direction draws from Belle Epoque France, and the result is visually stunning throughout. The story is emotionally devastating in the best possible way, and the performances from the cast are genuinely exceptional across the board. Game 7 is Ghost of Yotei, the PS5 exclusive sequel to Ghost of Tsushima that follows a new protagonist on a breathtaking journey of revenge across feudal Esso. Sucker Punch kept the combat razor sharp and added firearms to the mix, which changes up the flow in meaningful ways. The open world is gorgeous and packed with content, and the story carries emotional weight that builds steadily across dozens of hours. It is exactly what a sequel to one of PlayStation's best games should be. Coming in at number 8, Metaphor ReFantazio is the first new franchise from the creative team behind the Persona series, and it delivers on every level. The fantasy setting is wildly original. The turn-based combat deepens beautifully the more you engage with the class system, and the narrative is a remarkably thoughtful meditation on power, fear, and the stories people tell themselves. GameSpot gave it a rare 10 out of 10, and spending time with it makes it very clear why. Number 9 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second chapter in Square Enix's ambitious multi-part reimagining of one of the most beloved RPGs of all time. The game expands the world of the original dramatically, with an open world that gives you enormous freedom to explore between story beats. The combat system continues to evolve in satisfying ways. The character development is genuinely excellent, and the moments that pay homage to the original carry real emotional punch for longtime fans. Landing at number 10, Returnal is a PS5 exclusive roguelike shooter that represents one of the most unique gaming experiences available on the platform. You play as Celine, trapped in a loop of death and rebirth on an alien planet, and each run builds your understanding of both the mechanics and the deeply layered narrative hidden beneath the surface. The moment-to-moment gunplay is exceptional, the difficulty is intense but fair, and there is genuinely nothing else quite like it on PS5. Number 11 is Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Capcom's rebuilding of the survival horror classic is one of the most impressive remake projects in gaming history. Every system has been modernized without sacrificing what made the original so special. The pacing is relentless in the best possible way, and Leon's journey through rural Skane is tense and thrilling from beginning to end. Even players who have completed the original multiple times will find something fresh and exciting in this version. Death Stranding 2 On the Beach arrives at number 12, and Hideo Kojima's sequel to his divisive 2019 original is a more assured and more emotionally resonant experience than the first game. The traversal mechanics are more refined, the world is more varied, and the story is even more ambitious in scope and theme. Playing it alone in a quiet room is genuinely one of the most atmospheric experiences available on PS5, and it rewards patience with some of the most memorable imagery in modern gaming. At number 13, Nioh 3 is the strongest entry in Team Ninja's demanding action RPG series, and a serious contender for anyone who loves deep, punishing combat systems. The game builds on everything the previous entries established and refines it into something that feels tighter and more rewarding than ever. The level design is creative, the enemy variety is strong, and the sheer depth of the combat options available means you can sink enormous amounts of time into mastering every element of how it plays. Number 14 is Hogwarts Legacy, an open-world action RPG set in the wizarding world that succeeded in making the fantasy of actually attending Hogwarts feel completely real. The castle itself is one of the most detailed and atmospheric game environments in recent memory. The spell combat system is genuinely fun and flexible, and the freedom to explore a fully realized magical world at your own pace makes it extraordinarily easy to lose hours without realizing it. Coming in at number 15, Lies of P is a Souls-like action RPG that stunned critics and players alike with its production quality and the sophistication of its mechanical design. The Pinocchio-inspired narrative takes place in a crumbling Belle Epoque city overrun by mechanical puppets, and the parry-focused combat system is precise, demanding, and deeply satisfying when it clicks. It stands as one of the best non-From Software Souls games ever made, and earns its place on this list without question. At number 16, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is a massive, warm-hearted, and consistently entertaining JRPG that takes the series to Hawaii and brings together two of gaming's most charismatic protagonists. Ichiban Kasuga's boundless optimism drives a story that balances emotional sincerity with absurd humor in a way very few games manage. The turn-based combat is refined and fun, the side content is staggering in volume, and the sheer personality packed into every hour makes it extraordinarily hard to put down. Number 17 is Stellar Blade, a visually striking action game from Shift Up that turned heads with its tight combat design and impressive PS5 performance. The game draws clear inspiration from games like Nier Automata, but builds its own identity through polished mechanics and a world that rewards exploration. The combat system emphasizes timing and precision, and mastering the parry and counterattack rhythm is genuinely satisfying in a way that keeps pulling you back for just one more encounter. Game 18 is Alan Wake 2, Remedy's long-awaited sequel that transformed the original's third-person action into a layered psychological horror experience unlike anything else available. The dual narrative structure, alternating between Alan and Saga, creates a constantly shifting tone. The atmosphere is dense and cinematic throughout, and the live-action sequences add a surreal dimension that makes the whole package feel genuinely daring. It is bold, beautiful, and endlessly compelling. Coming in at number 19, Demon's Souls is the PS5 launch remake that set the tone for what the new generation of hardware could deliver from a visual standpoint. Bluepoint rebuilt From Software's foundational Souls-like with extraordinary attention to detail, and the result is one of the most atmospheric and challenging games available on the platform. If you have never experienced the original, this is the definitive way to play it, and veterans will find plenty to admire in the quality of the restoration.
Number 20 is Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, a PS5 exclusive that serves as the clearest demonstration of what the console's SSD technology can actually do in practice. Dimensional rifts open mid-gameplay to transport you instantly to entirely different locations, and the visual spectacle is genuinely jaw-dropping throughout. The gunplay is creative and varied, the characters are charming, and the DualSense integration makes every weapon feel tactile and distinct in ways that only work on this hardware. At number 21, Horizon Forbidden West is an open-world action RPG that expands everything the original Horizon Zero Dawn established and does so on a truly enormous scale. The world is packed with mechanical creatures to hunt, ancient ruins to explore, and a narrative that develops Aloy into one of PlayStation's most compelling protagonists. The combat depth increases steadily as you unlock new tools and weapons, and the sheer visual beauty of the environments makes exploration feel endlessly rewarding. Number 22 is The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition, which on PS5 runs at a locked 60 frames per second with ray tracing and looks better than it ever has before. CD Projekt Red's open-world RPG remains one of the greatest games ever made, with a narrative that treats player choice with genuine respect, and side quests that outclass the main stories of most other games entirely. If you have never played it, the PS5 version is the definitive way to experience one of the medium's landmarks. Game 23 is Hades 2, the roguelike sequel from Supergiant Games that takes everything exceptional about the original and expands it dramatically in scale, depth, and narrative ambition. You play as Melino, daughter of Hades, fighting upward through the underworld with an arsenal of divine weapons and boons from the Olympian gods. The writing is sharp, the characters are compelling, the runs stay varied across dozens of hours, and the moment you unlock a new ability, it immediately changes how you think about every fight. At number 24, Helldivers 2 became one of the biggest gaming surprises in recent memory when it launched and demonstrated that a budget-priced co-op shooter could dominate the entire cultural conversation. Playing it solo against the bug and robot hordes of Super Earth's enemies is an intense and chaotic experience that rarely lets up. The tactile satisfaction of calling down stratagems, the humor baked into every mission, and the constantly evolving galactic war make it deeply replayable. Wrapping up this list at number 25 is Balatro, the poker-inspired roguelike deck builder that consumed more hours for more PS5 players than almost any game its size has any right to. The core loop of building increasingly broken combinations of jokers and modifiers is immediately intuitive but endlessly deep, and the satisfaction of landing a perfectly constructed hand with an absurd multiplier never dulls across hundreds of runs. It is one of the most addictive games on the platform, full stop.